Unlike most others out there, we never wavered on whether or not Paramount was going to win over and take over Warner Brothers as opposed to Netflix. But what if we told you that now it appears through reporting that Warner Brothers may have hidden important information from their shareholders, and perhaps, just maybe, there's a lot of litigation, lawsuits, and other legal troubles, quandaries you might say, quagmires maybe, for the Warner Brothers water tower. All right, folks, the question is, did Warner Brothers hide some stuff? Did they hide some stuff that they shouldn't have hidden from our good friends at Paramount Skydance? Could be. We'll talk about it. This out of the Hollywood Reporter by George Sazali says the gloves are off. Wall Street games out Paramount's hostile Warner Brothers bid. Quote, at minimum, it's far from a slam dunk, said one analyst before David Ellison touted value, speed, and safety of his bid. But another expert says it's very hard to argue that Netflix's offer is better. By the way, the reason you can know that Netflix is out, unless they counter offer, which I doubt is going to happen at this point, the reason you know that is because everybody is talking about what Paramount's going to do with them now, and nobody's talking about what Netflix is going to counter with. And so that tells you, but the stories tell you now, it's the giveaway as to what's really going to happen. The gloves are off, and David Ellison's Paramount launched a hostile takeover bid for Warner Brothers, calling Netflix's $82.7 billion deal for key parts of the Hollywood giant an inferior proposal, and touting $18 billion more in cash in his company's offer for all of the Warner Brothers empire, rather than just its studios and streaming assets. While the 12 to 18 months of regulatory reviews eyed by Netflix for its Warner Brothers takeover signal the challenges it could face in Washington, Wall Street analysts say the streaming giants coming out on top puts pressure on the bidders that lost out, namely Paramount, Comcast, NBC Universal. No surprise then that Ellison touted during a Monday conference call that his company's offer provides value, speed, and regulatory scrutiny for shareholders. Among other things, he argued that Warner Brothers uses an illusory prospective valuation of global networks, which it would separate under a Netflix deal. The valuation is unsupported by the business fundamentals. Paramount's $30 per share all-cash offer, would therefore trump Netflix's $27.75 per share bid in cash and stock, plus whatever value one assigns to the retained global networks, yada, yada, yada. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have whiplash because the legacy going extinct dinosaur media reported to you that no doubt Netflix had won and then suddenly that wasn't what was true, well, you're not the only ones, but listen, we've got something bigger. And we're going there because we never wavered. We told you Paramount was going to win this thing. Marvin Montanaro, who's that? Oh, he's on the panel. He's going to explain this for us. Writing for geeksandgamers.com. If you're not yet bookmarked there, you should be. Says Warner Brothers Discovery rejected Paramount's higher cash offer last week for Netflix, triggering a full-blown hostile takeover. Marvin, I want people to go read this article, but essentially what you write in here is that a higher offer was already made by Paramount Skydance, and Warner Brothers may not have disclosed that and therefore hosed their shareholders. Marvin, walk us through this incredible story that the mainstream refuses to report on.
So this is we saw this on StrongerHollywood.com, which is the website that Paramount launched to kind of explain all this. Alex Sherman from CNBC also said it. The $30 all cash bid that they announced today, the shareholders, is the bid that they came back to Warner Brothers with last week before all of this went down. Today, we have learned through the SEC filings that Warner Brothers just ghosted them afterward, just never responded, never officially rejected it, which also means they never had to tell the shareholders about it. So now the Ellisons, it makes it when you think about this, it makes things fit together perfectly with how things went last week, because everybody mocked David Ellison last week for his reaction to this, where he went on that tirade and he went on like the Veruca Salt tirade where he was basically like, but it's unfair, I want it. No, it was unfair. He made a better offer and they ignored it. Like, he has a point. We just didn't know it until now. So, not only that, not only is it a better deal, it is backed by money from all over the world, but they took the extraordinary step to ensure that no foreign entities will have any voting power or board seats whatsoever, thus freeing it from government regulation there as well. So they really dotted every I and crossed every T. It is a perfect proposal. It's all cash. There's none of this stock nonsense going on. It is money in the pockets. Honestly, it's like when I think back to like things like Nelson Peltz and things like that, like we always knew things like that were kind of a long shot trying to appeal to the shareholders about things like that. This is money in their pockets. You think AT&T, who owns 10% of Warner Brothers, isn't looking to get the maximum amount of their ridiculous investment back in the lemon that they bought all those years ago? They are going to be chomping at the bit to get this money. Cash in hand, a regulatory period that people have said will take 6 months to get through antitrust.
So here's the other thing we've got to wonder, and I want to go to Lou on this one. Lou, now that we know there have been some things happening in the background, and we're talking about billions and billions of dollars and shareholders left in the dark about it, Lou, how worried does Warner Brothers have to be that Paramount Skydance might actually finish this thing? They might buy them, and if they do, they get access to all the communications, and we're going to find out, I think, whether or not there was some impropriety happening between Netflix and Paramount Skydance. It seems like, and Lou, just think about it this way. That's kind of what the Ellisons were alleging last week, Friday, when I said, guys, this is as close to illegality as they can claim, saying that this is an unfair process and there's a biased system inside the board. Lou, what's in there? What are they going to worry about?
Well, they got to worry about what did they know and when did they know it? Since the Warner Brothers people decided to totally ignore this clearly better offer, I wonder how many of the board members even saw it. I wonder whether this is Zaslav and a couple of buddies, like another certain corporation we know where a guy and his buddies run everything. And then the big question becomes, don't all those board people have an automatic, bound by SEC regulation and law, duty to disclose that offer to all the shareholders, even while they say, yeah, but we like the Netflix one better? And did they not do it because how can they say they not like the Netflix one better? Because it's worse. There's some literally some legal heads to roll here.
Let's talk about this. Marvin's got this in the article. Paramount allegedly last week offered more money.
Yep.
Paramount offered all cash. Paramount offered faster closing certainty. Paramount offered to acquire the entire company, not carve out problematic leftovers. And yet, none of that was brought to the shareholders whatsoever. This could get really ugly really fast. And it makes me think that perhaps they never saw a hostile takeover really coming towards them.
In which case they were fools.
Yeah.
Because the personalities involved should have told them.
I mean, Ellison said he was going to do this a week ago.
I have an old friend who was very high up at Oracle for a while and worked with these guys. You don't want to make them angry. It's the Hulk. It's the Hulk, gang. You don't want to make them angry. Really, you don't. Well, and
I had heard that too, Lou. This is so funny. So you and I were talking over the weekend about this, and we said, they've made them mad. You don't want to make these guys mad. You really don't want to make them mad.
And why shouldn't they be mad? They said, well, this is what you asked for. Okay, we've altered our offer. We've answered every question. We've met everything. Here we are. Smile. Say hi. Oh, sorry, I can't go with you to La Scala and the French Laundry tonight because I have a date at Tail of the Pup with the guys from Netflix.
Right.
I mean, that's what it boils down to.
Let me show you what it looks like when you make the Ellisons mad. And right or wrong, whatever, Reuters is coming out now and saying there's ethical questions about this because, boy, oh boy, who's helping out with the hostile takeover attempt? Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law. So if Netflix thought that they had won over the orange man, think again. Jody Godoy has this one. Kushner rolling bid for Warner Brothers raises ethical questions, experts say. Let's read this. Jared Kushner's financing role in Paramount's $108 billion bid for Warner Brothers Discovery injects Trump family interest into one of the biggest media battles in years, raising concerns over whether the president's influence could tip the scales. Well, you bet it does. Right or wrong, Trump came out at the Kennedy Honors, event Sunday night and claimed he's going to be involved in the decision-making process on this. So you bet you think Trump's going to go against his own son-in-law? Oh, come on.
Oh, but see, even without that, Trump is saying yes. And not only that, I stand with Jane Fonda, who's against that deal. I stand with Prayapal Jaipal, however you pronounce her name, who's against the deal. I stand with Pocahontas, who's against the deal. I mean, for God's sakes, folks. As I said before, this is a direct line to the end of movie theaters as we've known them. And if that happens, lots of jobs and money and tax revenue go out the window in every city and state, blue, red, green, purple, you pick a color you like.
And
this is not a partisan issue in the effect, even if it is in the process.
And yet, this is one of my favorite headlines of all time. I love this one. We were laughing about this earlier. Deadline, Ted Johnson says, Trump declines to take sides for now in Netflix and Paramount pursuit of Warner Brothers. None of them are particularly great friends of mine. This is Deadline. He is trolling you, Deadline.
I mean, how many people are friends with their father-in-law?
and not only that, when Sarandos, Mr. Netflix said, well, I had a meeting with Trump and it lasted over an hour.
Right.
And Trump said, yeah, okay, you just sit around here for an hour and tell everybody that and see how far that gets you.
Right.
It's just theater. It's all theater.
So, Wizard, one of the interesting things about this has been that when Netflix was declared the winner on Friday by the legacy drive-bys, Netflix's stock went down. Paramount, despite this insane price, when this got announced on Monday, Paramount stock shot up. And so did Warner Brothers, which again tells you what's going to happen here. Wiz, how badly has Netflix been embarrassed by this?
Well, and what's really interesting here, I mean, it's a clear embarrassment, but we also got some other news coming out of this that Netflix was allegedly investigating potentially buying Disney at one point before this. They were considering getting into 20th Century Fox at one point. Hang on
a second, Wizard. Now you're telling me Netflix would like to buy Disney?
That came out today,
This is the story that came out today that
Wizard?
They had at one point considered Disney. Yeah,
Wizard,
The magic word is considering.
Yeah,
I'm considering buying Disney.
I will just say, I will happily advocate for Netflix to buy Disney just for the giggles of it all.
I guess but also Electronic Arts. So Electronic Arts, which was recently just sold with, guess who was involved with that one? Jared Kushner.
Jared Kushner, yeah.
Was involved.
He's everywhere.
Well. That's a very big indicator here of how this is going to go if we look at the Electronic Arts deal. But the fact that now there's stories coming out that Netflix had considered buying these other companies and then didn't, the first thing I have to ask is, why Warner Brothers and why now? Why not before? There are plenty of popular and valuable IPs. There's popular studios involved with those other companies. Why didn't you go for those? And then also, what's the follow-up going to be? Are you going to counter bid what Paramount is doing here? Can you afford that? Can you pull that much cash together to try and go up and go toe-to-toe with Paramount? That's what I'm waiting to see is going to happen next. But also,
I've talked to somebody.
Shareholders deserve answers. So
I talked to somebody, Wizard, that I think knows the answer to that. And they've told me that they believe, yes, Netflix could counter offer and they could go higher, but that it would be ludicrous if they did so. Like they were already... We are already at the point where Warner Brothers is so overvalued right now compared to what it's really worth that if you keep going up, you got to explain that to your shareholders, why it is that you gave up this kind of insanity levels of cash.
This is what I've been saying for weeks now, is that, Warner Brothers is worth more than Fox, but Fox was not worth what Disney paid for it.
Exactly the great comparison. I was just about to make the same one. They become, without meaning to, the way that clearly the guy at Comcast meant to, the agent provocateur to drive the price up and then walk away.
Now,
yeah. In fact, I think that was the whole point of. I think they knew that Paramount was going to do this hostile takeover anyway, and so I think they misled Netflix. I think Netflix has been misled in this deal.
I need to look ahead more, because somebody had posted on X, and I have to look into the validity of it, that part of the breakup fee is that if Warner Brothers backs out of this for any reason, they owe Netflix $2 billion. And I have to look into whether that is true or not, because
That is true.
Yeah. Okay.
And therefore, it begs the question: do we eventually, when it's all said and done, see Paramount having to pay that money because they bought Warner Brothers and with it its liabilities? How's that for ironic?
Yes. Which means Netflix gets $2 billion for nothing.
Hey, Andy, how delicious is this that Pocahontas, Jane Fonda, and Donald Trump have all united together to try to save Hollywood? Is this not the most fun story ever?
This has me like worried about end of the world biblical type stuff. Dogs and cats living together.
Oh, he went there. Oh, we're on the same page.
Mass hysteria.
Who ever thought that would happen? Wow. Yeah.
What fun.
This is bad. This is
wait. If you think you feel strange about it, imagine how Pocahontas feels to be on the same side with her arch enemy Trump. Imagine how Jane Fonda feels.
If somebody is running against Pocahontas up there, they should be using this in their ad campaign. Remember that time when you sided with Donald Trump?
and yet they have to. They have to.
Than she is, absolutely.
But they have to, because their entire industry, the whole ecosystem that enriches them, could go down in flames if Netflix gets a hold of this thing. So it's just delicious. I mean, honestly, it is. I can't get enough of it. I want to bathe in this every day for like a month. I hope this story doesn't go away. Marvin, before we wrap this thing up, though, I just want to go to you. You've been covering this at great depth.
Oh yes.
You're talking about lawsuits, proxy fights, shareholder revolts, all that. Marvin, walk us through what is coming up. What's on the docket with this whole mess?
Well, the next thing that we are going to see is the shareholders of Warner Brothers have a very big decision to make. And we're going to see if Netflix counters. We're going to see what the Warner Brothers board has to say for itself, because they have to respond to this in some way, shape, or form. I could see the board launching their own campaign to try and talk the shareholders out of this. I don't know how you justify why, an $18 billion, extra is a bad thing. I don't know how you could justify that. So we're going to see. It's going to be very interesting to see how Warner Brothers reacts to this, how Netflix reacts to this, and what the shareholders do, and what legal issues come out because of it.
And
either way, billions of dollars are going to change hands.
When we talk about shareholders, you all should understand that, like with all these major companies, in this case, 61% of Warner Brothers is owned by about 6 major institutional folks. Some of the usual suspects we know from that other outfit. The question becomes, when one of them, even one of the smaller ones with like 4%, 3%, breaks, won't the others have to go with them just to maintain their credibility? They'll have to.
The one that I think is going to break the hardest is going to be AT&T.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, okay, cool. We can get our money back. Good. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Andy.
I have a question. How much do you think Zaslav is going to be held accountable by this? Because it doesn't have a deal where he's supposed to stay in charge if it's purchased. He's supposed to stay like as the CEO or something. I thought I heard something.
That was the rumor that was going to be a part of any deal presented to the board. But this is a deal that does not involve the board. If the shareholders accept Paramount's offer, Zaslav has no say in that. His hands are tied. They could boot him out tomorrow once that's signed.
Okay. I was wondering how much they would hold him responsible for all these problems going on back and forth.
There will be revenge.
It makes you wonder, in the offer that Paramount made that Zaslav ignored, that answered every question that Warner Brothers had, was the one thing missing, keeping him? And is that why he ignored it?
I had heard that Ellison was more than willing to keep him on, even in like a co-CEO role. But I mean, it's
way back. But I'm saying in this most recent offer, they've got a whole presentation out there filed with the SEC that lists everything. It's not in there.
Yeah, apparently the feedback that Warner Brothers gave Paramount was increase the offer value, streamline financing structure to increase certainty, provide increased regulatory certainty, and provide WBD increased flexibility between signing and closing. And they did all of that.
Yeah.
And they filed that on, they were given that feedback on 12/1, filed it on 12/4, and then never heard anything back.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They're going to hear back from a whole lot of people because we're going to be watching this day after day. This is chaos, not in a bottle anymore, but unleashed upon the entertainment world. And the stakes could not be any higher. Folks, we'll stay tuned to it. Will the cinema survive? Or are we going to get a Netflix response and perhaps things get even more dire? We'll find out.